But beyond that, for the first 10 years, this has been a totally bootstrapped business.
Yeah, totally bootstrapped. Yeah, in the beginning it was like, I mean, not really our choice because we were growing too slowly to raise venture capital. And then because in the beginning we were doing like surveys, and then in 2019 we made a switch to assessments, which is not completely different, but it is yeah, a more interesting niche, smaller market, but more interesting and also higher ticket value. And as from then the growth began to kick off. But by then we already were used to the bootstrap life, to be really careful before spending the money. And also with higher ticket size, we had annual contracts which were prepaid. So that's easier. That makes financing easier. Also the services. So we never really considered venture capital. And then at the end of 2022, so last year, we have launched a new product, and therefore we needed the debt financing. And in fact, it's by then our MRR was already high enough to convince the banks that we could pay off the debt. So we went for like traditional debt financing, and then we were able to develop that product faster, basically.
I love the story of how you came up with the idea for this business. It was in a very unexpected way. Can you share that with our audience in terms of where this idea came from?
In the beginning, I was thinking to do something else because I've been in consulting for 15 years. I was thinking to do something with CRM, customer relationship management, but then I needed some hobby projects to catch up with technology, because I mean in all those years technology had evolved quite significantly. So I made a tablet quiz on the iPad for my daughter's birthday. And we used like a technology called Sensa Touch for that. That's a framework that makes it easier to make those things. And it went pretty well. Then as a result of that, I also created a website called Tablet Quiz, where people could create their own quizzes for iPad. But without technical knowledge, they just could do it by just configuring the questions and the answers and so on. And that's I made it available online just for free, and that kicked off well. We had some interesting use of that. Of course, some personal use from people who want to do a quiz about their dog or cat or so. That's not that interesting. But we had also, like, I remember then, for example, AT&T, the US telecom company, making use of it at HR events. Then also some others, also a lot of teachers, which was maybe less interesting, but good traction. Basically, well, not enormous, but enough to collect some feedback and to see what the potential was, and then we decided to launch the actual product, which was then we added then the surveys also. We did both surveys and quizzes at that time.
So I love that. So the idea started basically with your daughter's birthday. And when you created this tool, you published this and made this available for free. Were you thinking of this as a potential business opportunity at that time? Or was this more like, a hobby, just something fun, put it out there and just see what happens?
Yeah, at first it was like just the hobby thing. But then, it was not like from one day to the other, but like slowly it evolved. When I saw like the reactions coming in, then I realized that there was more potential than just quizzes for fun, and I realized also that fun is of course you would think that it's not sellable because it's just for personal use and for like birthday parties and things like that. But fun means also engagement. So when you apply it to a company context and engagement, like employee engagements. And when you do quizzes at HR events, that's important. So people are ready to pay for that if they have a nice activity on their HR event. Same in market research. Market research was really like boring quizzes or boring surveys at that moment. When you can gamify that and add more engagement, you will also collect more and better data. So there is certainly, or there was certainly a use case and some potential there.
So when you realized that there was this opportunity, you and your co-founder, it's Mark, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So did you guys go out and say, okay, we should go and validate this more, we should interview people, we should figure this out? Or did you look at the kind of organic usage that was happening and like, wait a minute, we've got people at AT&T coming along and using this product, maybe that's enough validation for us to start building something? How did you get to a point where you felt confident enough to invest some serious time and money into this?
Yeah, it's more the second. Like we interviewed the people that used our tool, asked them why they used it, what they how they found us, what they thought was good about our tool or not so good. So that's the way that we approached it. We had also like a lot of traction because it was also for free. We had more more users than initially expected. So yes, that's the way we moved forward. But then when we of course when we made like a paying product, then I used also my personal network to get the first customers, not only the people that came in via the online channels.
So how much development did you have to do on the product once you two decided that this was going to be a product that you were going to sell? Was it as simple as, hey, we can take what we already have and let's put, kind of Stripe integration there and see what happens? Or did you have to say, no, this was kind of a fun thing, but we need to go back and redevelop the product before we go out there?
Yeah, we added some like features that we like from the feedback interviews that we thought that were needed. Also the payments, of course, because it had to be like paid, the payment integration, but was not really that much time because I quit my job in July, beginning of July 2012, and then I think end of September 2012 we launched the paid version. It was pretty quick, so we didn't have to do like so much development. We only two then, but then afterwards, of course, when it was launched, then we still, we still developed it. It never stopped, of course. Yeah.
So I'm curious. You said you got a lot of traction with the free product, which kind of makes sense. If you're offering something, it solves a problem or meets a need, and it's free, there's going to be lots of people lined up to use it. Once you added some of the additional features and you started charging for the product, I'm curious, in terms of, let's say, your first 10 customers, how many of them were people you converted from the free plans versus people you got through your personal network?
Yeah, that's a good question. In number of customers, it could be about 50-50, I think. But in value, the ones that come from the network were more valuable, so in revenue. So we had only in the beginning, in the very beginning, we had only 5 to 10 customers per month from the online channels, and maybe about the same or a bit less from the personal network. But at that time, these were also small amounts. We were talking about $29 per month, and we had a plan of $49 per month, and the highest plan was $99 per month. So even for the personal network, it was not really scalable because the cost of acquisition to go there and to convince them was too high for the for that kind of price. But in the beginning, you have to do it because otherwise you need your first customers, and in the beginning you don't have to worry too much about scalability. You just need customers, and then you can develop them. You can ask them feedback, and some will churn, But then it's important that you learn why they churned, and then adapt your product or your approach based on that, and then you move on, and that's the way to do it.
So the business is founded in 2012. I believe you hit the first million in ARR in 2019. So we're talking about 7 years to get there. Since then, growth has accelerated, more, and you're hitting each incremental million in ARR much faster. But I'm curious, when you look back at those first 7 years, what would you, if anything, have done differently to try and hit that first million faster?
Yeah, in the beginning we were like doing the surveys or software for surveys, and like I said, the our value proposition was to focus on the respondent experience, so to make it more fun and use gamification, interactivity, conversational elements to make it more interesting for the respondent, and thereby also collecting better and more data. Yeah, so in the beginning that worked pretty well, but then there were others like Typeform and other tools that did the same basically, and it was a pretty crowded market. So we knew, and we also knew the theory that you have to start with the niche and then expanding from that. So we knew that we had to find something else, something more like smaller but easy, with less competition and easier to position ourselves as a unique offering. And we tried some things like with around training and gamification. We tried things about being on trade shows and scanning QR codes with a small survey behind it, and that is then sent to the CRM system, and so on, like different use cases. But none of these really worked very well. Some of them worked not at all, some a little bit. But we spent each time quite a lot of time in developing that, and sometimes we had to develop separate features for that. And you have to test it. You have to find use cases and to collect feedback. So that's certainly a struggle, and that's why it took so long to find the killer use case then. That if we would do it again, I would probably try to do that faster, try to decide faster whether some use case or some path that you have chosen is the right one or not. And then also not be afraid to stop it and to pursue another path if it's not the right one. So not trying to do everything for everyone.